Minimum standard for pharmacies in hospital. These are some ASHP guidelines. I am giving you and more description and more explanation. ASHP, minimum standard guideline. In my last lecture I already explained this sixth guideline, and today I am describe all of them. Number one standard, that is a leadership and practice management. Effectiveness of leadership and practice management skill are necessary for the delivery of pharmaceutical services in a manner consistent with the hospital and the patient's needs as well as continuous improvement in patient's care outcome. यहाँ ये देखिए, थोड़ा मैं उर्दू में भी आप लोगों को समझाता चलो, उर्दू और हिंदी के हमारे जितने साउथ एशिया के लोग हैं वो भी समझ लें कि यहाँ पे लीडरशिप जो है वो लीडरशिप सिर्फ हमारे फार्मेसी के डायरेक्टर होगा वही, उसी की नहीं है, वो तो हेड होगा हमारे हॉस्पिटल फार्मेसी का, लेकिन अपनी ड्यूटीज़ के लिहाज से हर एक रिस्पॉन्सिबल है कि वो एक लीडरशिप क्वालिटी डेवलप करे अपने अंदर. इसमें जो है मैनेजर भी हो सकते हैं, फार्मेसी सुपरवाइज़र भी हो सकते हैं. अगर ओपीडी का सुपरवाइज़र वो अपने स्टाफ को मैनेज करेगा, उनकी अपनी लीडरशिप को अपने को कायम करेगा और वो अपनी परफॉर्मेंस दिखाएगा. और परफॉर्मेंस दिखाने का मतलब ये है कि बेटर आउटकम हो. तो इस सिलसिले में रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ ऑफ डायरेक्टर ऑफ फार्मेसी भी है कुछ जो हम आपको बताते चलें. The director of the pharmacy shall be responsible for, I given here 5 points, you just read all of them and also add some more. Number one, the setting the short and long term goals of the pharmacy based on the need of the patient served, the specific need of the hospital and any health system in which the hospital may be a component, and develops and trained in healthcare and hospital pharmacy practice. Number two, developing plan and schedule for achieving these goals. Number three, directing the implementation of the plan and the day-to-day activity associated with them. Number four, determining whether the goals and schedules are being met. Number five, instituting corrective action where necessary. यानी जो डायरेक्टर ऑफ फार्मेसी है ना सिर्फ अपने गोल सेट करेगा, गोल भी शॉर्ट टर्म और लॉन्ग टर्म हो सकते हैं, बल्कि उसको केयर भी करता रहेगा, उसको देखता भी रहेगा वो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इसमें हो रही है कि नहीं हो रही, पेशेंट केयर हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा, वो सब देखेगा. और वो रिपोर्ट अपने मैनेजर से लेगा, मैनेजर्स जो है अपने सुपरवाइजर से, इसी तरह फार्मासिस्ट जो अलग अलग जिनकी ड्यूटीज़ होगी वो रिपोर्टिंग करेंगे. यहाँ पर अब आप एक बात देखें तो डायरेक्टर ऑफ द फार्मेसी सर्विस मस्ट बी थ्रोली नॉलेजेबल अबाउट हॉस्पिटल फार्मेसी प्रैक्टिस एंड मैनेजमेंट. ये कंपलसरी बात है हॉस्पिटल डायरेक्टर के लिए. और हमारी इस फार्मेसी का मिशन क्या हो सकता है? वो मिशन ये है कि द फार्मेसी शैल हैव अ रिटन मिशन स्टेटमेंट दैट अ minimum reflect both patient care and operational responsibilities. Other aspect of the mission may be appropriate as well, for example the educational and research responsibilities in the case of teaching and research hospitals. यानी एजुकेशन क्या, वहाँ कंटिन्यूइंग एजुकेशन भी चलती रहती है, ट्रेनिंग का सिस्टम भी चलता रहता है, और हेल्थ केयर के जो प्रोफेशनल्स हैं उनके लिए भी ट्रेनिंग प्रोवाइड करते हैं, ड्रग इन्फॉर्मेशन की सेटअप रखते हैं, और ऐसे कुछ सेमिनार भी अरेंज करते हैं और वर्कशॉप अरेंज की जाती हैं कि वो कंटिन्यूइंग मेडिकेशन के बारे में एजुकेशन होती रहे. कुछ भी देखिए मैंने नीचे कुछ पॉइंट्स दिए हुए हैं, वो शॉर्ट में पॉइंट दिए हुए हैं, आप इसी को वन बाय वन अगर एक्सप्लेन करेंगे, वो ड्यूटीज़ हैं जो कि फार्मेसी के अंदर कोई भी फार्मासिस्ट हॉस्पिटल फार्मासिस्ट को सरंजाम दी जाती है. और वो किस हवाले से? वो हवाला है लीडरशिप एंड प्रैक्टिस मैनेजमेंट के हवाले से, जो कि स्टैंडर्ड नंबर 1 है. इसमें देखिए नंबर 1, देयर इज सो मेनी थिंग्स एंड आई जस्ट मेंशन बिलो, and just I explained one by one. After the mission, You see the first dot, there is support personals. Support personnel, what is the support personals? I am giving it in English because I have some students who don't know the Urdu and Hindi and other language, so that's why I'm most of all I just talk about the English and sometime in your local languages also. So support personnel, the sufficient support personnel, pharmacy technicians and clerical and secretarial, those are the support personnels shall be employed to the facilitate the implementation of pharmaceutical care. Number 2 dot, there is work schedule and assignment. The director of the pharmacy shall ensure that the work schedule, procedure and assignment optimize the use of the personnels and resources. Education and training. All personnel must possess the education and the training needed to fulfill their responsibilities. All personnel must participate in the relevant continuing education program and activate as necessary to maintain or enhance their competence. That I told before, that thing. Orientation of personnels. There must be an established procedure for the orientation new personnels of the pharmacy, the hospital and their respective position. Performance evaluation. Procedure for the routine evaluation of performance of pharmacy personnels. Position descriptions. Area of the responsibility within the pharmacy shall be clearly defined. Written position description for all category of pharmacy personnel must exist and must be revised as necessary. And what is the there is a next point, operational manual. The one type of the manual, this one, and in which we follow this system how to work. An operational manual governing pharmacy functions, for example the administrative, operational and clinical, shall exist. It should include the long-term goal, and for the pharmacy the manual must be revised when necessary to reflect charges in procedures, organization and objective. All personnel should be familiar with the content to manual. Appropriate mechanisms to ensure the compliance with the policies and the procedure should be established. Drug expenditures. Drug expenditures policies and procedure for managing the drug expenditures shall exist. They should address workload and financial performance. A process shall exist to the routinely monitors workload and financial performance. The process should provide the determinant of analysis of the hospital and system-wide cost of the medication therapy. A pharmacist should pharmacy should be an integral part of the hospital, you know that, and then also a financial management team, and there is also community involvement. Community involvement means the pharmacist should be a member of the activity of the participants in those community responsible for the establish and stabilizing medication related policies and the procedure, as well as the committee responsible for the provision of the patient care. Quality assessment and improvement. There shall be an ongoing system program for the quality assessment and improvement of the pharmacy and the healthcare system quality assessment and quality improvement activities. Quality improvement. What is quality improvement activities? Related to the distribution, administration and use of the medication shall be routinely performed. The next point is the 24-hour pharmaceutical active services. That is adequate hours of the operational of the provision of the needed pharmaceutical services must be maintained. 24-hour pharmaceutical services should be provided if possible. Some hospitals have the no 24-hour services, but some have. So 24 hours pharmaceutical services should exist in all hospitals with clinical program that require intensive medication therapy. When 24-hour pharmaceutical pharmacy service is not feasible, a pharmacist must be available on the on-call basis. Suppose in night duty, they should be on call. And after hours pharmacy access, in the absence of the 24-hour pharmaceutical services, what access is the limited supply of the medication should be available to the authorized and non-pharmacists for use in carrying out urgent medication orders, the list of medication to be accessible, and the policies of the procedure to be used, including the subsequent review of the all activity of the pharmacist, and shall be developed by the pharmacy and the therapeutic committee. This is a committee. There is doctors and pharmacists and other medical staff. The head nurse also involved in this committee and the member of this committee. And this committee is called Pharmacy and Therapeutic Committee, or its equivalent. Item for the such access should be chosen with safety in mind, limiting whenever the possible medication quantity, dosage form, and the container size. Routine after hours access to the pharmacy and non-pharmacist like nurses and other for access to the medication is a strongly discouraged. This practice should be minimized and eliminated to the fullest extent possible. The use of the well-designed night cabinet. Or a night cabinet, in there the medication should be keep for the night duties. After hours medication chart and other, there is card, CARTS cards. There is a medication card. There is a medication should be placed. There is one of the type of a rack, and some of the movable also. Is it like a trolley? And other method they need to the non-pharmacist to entry in the pharmacy. And for the emergency situation, there is which are non-pharmacist access. There is also. So this is all about the actually now standard 2. There's a drug information and education. Drug information, you know well that the drug information, what we can provide about the drug information to the doctors, to patient also, and sometime on call somebody call in a pharmacist or clinical pharmacist who's duty in the pharmacy drug information center, so they can provide the drug information. And there are many types, electronic information, and they from the books and from internet and other sources. The pharmacist shall provide the patient a specific drug information and the accurate and comprehensive information about the drugs to other pharmacists, I told you before, and other whole healthcare professional, doctors, nurses, and other, and patients as appropriate. Up-to-date drug information shall be available, including current periodical and recent editions of the textbook in appropriate pharmaceutical and biomedical subject areas. Electronic information, I told you that there is available also and is desirable. This information may be provided in the conjunctions with medical libraries and other available resources. Appropriate drug information resources shall be readily accessible to pharmacists located in the pharmaceutical area, that is called the drug information center. No medication should be administered to a patient unless medical and the nursing personnel have received adequate information about and are familiar with its therapeutic uses, potential adverse effect, and dosage. So there is also some points I just mentioned, 4 point here. There is a drug information request. It's come from the either from the doctors or from the nurse or from the patient. So response to journal and the patient's specific drug information request shall be provided in an accurate and timely manner. Also timely manner. A process shall exist to assist and ensure the quality of the responses to request. If there is some request, should be our response quickly and quality wise is accurate. There is other point, medication therapy monograph. There are some medications or a single medication or other type of medication, the therapy of this medication. The medication therapy monograph for the medications under the consideration for formulary addition or deletion shall be available. This monograph should be based on the analytical review and what type of this if there is some medication is should be add or should be discontinued should be written there. Each monograph shall include a therapeutic and economical assessment, and this is comparative therapeutic and economic assessment, and each medication proposed for addition. If there is some addition should be proposed for that. And patient education also for very important for that purpose. Pharmacy should be available for any activity participant in the patient education. This is mostly for the outpatient. Inpatient we cannot be teach to them because the nurse are directly involved and directly given to the patient the medications. For outpatient or OPD, there is time and also the patient interaction with the pharmacist. That's why we usually education to the patient there, and also sometimes from drug information center, including information on the ethical issues if any about the medication they received. Patient education activities shall be coordinated with the nursing, medical and other clinical staff as needed. So there are sometimes the parameters they are available for that person. Disseminations of drug information. Pharmacists should keep the hospital's staff informed about the use of the medications on an ongoing basis through appropriate publications, presentations and programs. Pharmacists should ensure timely disseminations of drug product information. For example, recall notice, labeling changes. If there is some changes should be informed. So that is a standard number 2, drug information and education. The standard number 3 is optimizing medication therapy. Optimizing medication therapy. What is type of therapy? An important aspect of pharmaceutical care is optimizing medication use. This must include the processes designed to ensure the safe and effectiveness use of the medication and increase the probability of the desired patient outcome. The pharmacist interact with the medical and the nursing staff must develop policies and procedure for ensuring the quality of the medication therapy. There are some also points, and which points is like medication record and documentation, medication histories, medication orders, medication therapy, monitoring, therapeutic purpose, medication use evaluation. These are the work are belong to this standard type, or this is optimizing medication therapy. One by one, just I briefly and short. There is some explanation because you just know about what is medication record documentation. This type of documentation in the medical record, there all the data of the patient in a file or in an electronic file. So a clinical action of the recommendations by the pharmacists that are designed to ensure safe and effective use of medications and that have the potential effect of the patient's outcome should be documented in a patient medical record, and this record keep in the one of the area there all the records of the patients should be. Medication history is like same like that. For pharmacy should prepare and have the immediate access to the comprehensive medication histories for the each patient's medical records and other database medication profile and other things, or both. A pharmacist conducted medication history for each patient is desirable. Medication order. What is medication order? All prescribers here the doctors, and in the other countries, I mean like America and Canada, they are the prescriber also the pharmacist. Medication orders accept in emergency situation, because in emergency situation the order is not like that in inpatient and outpatient, and because in the emergency we should be immediate we given some of the medication to the patient which they need, the patient need emergency, must be reviewed for appropriateness by a pharmacist before the first dose is dispensed. So other than this emergency, any question regarding this, that order must be resolved with the prescriber at this time, and a written that is a notations of these discussions must be made in the patient's medical record or pharmacy copy of the prescriber order. Information and concerning changes must be communicated to the appropriate health professionals. And the other is a medication therapy monitoring. A medication therapy monitoring shall be conducted for the appropriate patients and medication use. Medication therapy monitoring, what including an assessment of, there are many things. In few, just I told you, for example, that therapeutic appropriateness of the patient's medication regimen, therapeutic duplication in the patient's medication regimen, and like the degree of the patient compliance, clinical and pharmacokinetics laboratories, and physical sign and other so on so on. Therapeutic purposes. Prescriber should be encouraged or the routinely communicate to the condition being treated or the therapeutical purpose of the medication with all the prescribing and medication order. Pharmacist consultations. Pharmacists should provide oral and written consultations to other health professionals regarding the medication therapy selection and management. Medication would use evaluation, MUE. What is an ongoing medication use? Evaluations program shall exist to ensure that medication are used appropriate, safely and effectively. Medication use policy development. Next point, the pharmacist shall be member of this P&T committee, the therapeutic committee pharmacy and the therapeutic committee, the institutional review board, and the infective control patients care, medications use evaluation and other community. So that make the decision on the considering medication use. Documentation of pharmaceutical care and outcome. What is that? There is also the pharmacy shall be do. I write there. The pharmacy shall be have an ongoing process. This is also the ongoing process, and pharmaceutical care and inpatient outcome from the medication therapy and other pharmacy actions. Next point is continuity of care. This is compulsory, because if there is care in stop, there is no benefit for them until resolve, until fully patient fully cure about this disease, some of disease and other things. The pharmacist shall routinely contributed to the process and ensuring that each patient's pharmaceutical care is maintained regardless of transition of occurs across different care setting. Work design and initiatives. The pharmacist must be involved in the working and design, design and also redesign. Sometimes after designing, we should make another agenda, another program to change this designing and other things, and initiate such as patients focus care where they exist. These effects should be such that pharmaceutical care is enhanced and supported. Like that, the clinical care plan, the next one you see. Pharmacists must be involved in the development clinical care plan involving medication therapy, microbial resistance. There sometimes also these problems occur. So policies and procedures addressing microbial resistance to the anti-infective shall exist, and anti-infective like antibiotics shall exist. Pharmacists should be review the laboratory reports of microbial sensitivities and adverse prescriber if microbial resistance is noted. So if sometimes resistance, sometimes there is zone of inhibition, we can check, and if there is antibiotic, some antibiotic is not matching of this microbial test, we can change it. And medication therapy decision, the pharmacist there is something initiation. Pharmacy should be initiates about monitor also and modifying medication therapy for individual patients consistent with law. This is compulsory and regulation. If there is against law and regulation, we cannot be. And hospital policies shall be clearly defined and approved by the P&T committee. Pharmacy and therapeutic committee should be approve that things. Immunization program means vaccine programs. The pharmacy shall be involved in the department and the hospital policies and procedures for considering these preventive and post exposures immunizations programs for patients and hospital employees. And in the last point we see here the pharmacy, the substance abuse program. The pharmacy shall assist in the development of the this type of practice then in the hospital substances abuses, so we can prevent this one and provide the prevention and employees assistance program where there exist. Standard number 4. Standard number 4, there is medication distribution and control. Medication distribution, we can distribution of medication to the patients or to the hospital, inpatient, direct and indirect to the patient, and also control. So the pharmacy shall be responsible for the procurement, distribution and control of all drugs products used in the hospital, including the medication related devices and pharmaceutical diagnostic, and for inpatient and ambulatory patients also. Ambulatory patients also same like policies and also I explain later about this patient, what type of ambulatory patients. There is another topic, the full topic I just explain later. Policies and procedures governing these functions shall be developed by the pharmacy with input from other appropriate hospital staff and community. You see here a lot of points I just mentioned here for this purpose, where medication distribution and control involve, what type of work here the pharmacist can be do. So here you starting from you see medication order. So one by one just I tell you about something about that. All patients medication orders shall be contained in the patient's medical record, as I told you before that thing. A direct copy of the prescriber order, either hard copy or the prescriber entered the electronic transmission preferred method, shall be received by the pharmacist. Order transmit safeguard. This is actually the procedure in medication order. I explain you later, because in this topic just I mentioned you the some of the point standards which are good pharmacy practice. So there is some method, the medication order, how to medication order come to the pharmacy, and pharmacy should be distribute the medication to the patient or the nurse for inpatients. So that system shall exist to ensure the medication order are not appropriate. We continue, so we can check it. And formulary, the formulary approved medication shall be maintained by the pharmacy and by the hospital. So these are drug formulary, we can say this one, which type of medication available in the pharmacy of the hospital pharmacy. Prescribing, medication shall be prescribed by the individuals who have been granted appropriate clinical privilege in the hospital and the legally permitted of the order medication. The pharmacy shall advocate and foster conforms with the standardization, approved terminologies and abbreviation to be used throughout the hospital when prescribing medication. So when here only in Pakistan and India, the doctor should be prescribed the medication, and but in European countries, some of the European countries and US and Canada, pharmacy also have the authority to prescribe the medications. So medication administration, only personnel who are the authorized by the hospital and the appropriate transition shall be permitted to the administer medication to the patient. This may include pharmacists and other pharmacy personnels. There is compounding. There is a drug information, dosage form, strength, and packaging that are the not available commercials but are needed for the patient care shall be prepared by appropriate trained personnel and in accordance with the application practice and standards and regulations. FDA and state some of the board should be given the formula for that purpose. So compounding, this is sometimes a non-sterile like the balm, carbonated mixtures, and some of the external preparations also. But next, there's a sterile product also. Sterile product we can make in the laminar flow, hood flow. So should be in this type of preparation, sterile product like TPN, total parenteral nutritions, and some of the injectables. So take care of for that purpose, and we can fulfill the procedure of sterilizations also. And all the sterile medication shall be prepared and labeled in a suitable environments by appropriate trained person. Quality insurance procedure for the preparation of sterile products shall exist. Unit dose packaging for inpatient, that is we can given for inpatient for 24 hour. We can given the medication to the patients to the all the ward of the suppose one of the male ward there we can provide, and gynae ward, so we can provide for 24 hours medication as request. Whenever possible, medications shall be available for the inpatient use in single unit packaging as in ready to the administered form. Manipulation of the medication before the administration, withdrawal of dosage for multi-doses container, labeling container by final user should be minimized. Medication storage. Medication shall be stored and prepared under the proper conditions and sanitization, temperature, light, moisture, ventilator, and ventilation segregations, and security to ensure the medication integrity of personal safety. That is some compulsory things. Adverse drug reactions. This type of reactions I will explain later, but and this is an ongoing process for monitoring, reporting, and preventing adverse drug reactions shall be developed. And medication error. Pharmacies with physician and other appropriate hospital personnel shall establish the policies and procedure with respect to the medication error prevention and reporting. So drug product recall, the written procedures shall exist to the handling of the drugs product recall. There should be the established process of removing from use any drugs or device subjected to a recall. Patient on medications. There is a drug product and the related devices brought into the hospital, and the patient shall be identified the pharmacy and documented in the patient's medical records if any medication they are used during hospitalizations. They shall be administered only pursued the prescriber. So it should be that this is a type of medication, patient owned medication, that is called. And if you see the right side, some points, there is a vendor representative. There is written policies governing to activate the representative of the vendor of the drugs. Where should I got these drugs? And samples. The use of the medication samples shall be eliminated to the extent possible. Manufacture of supply. Criteria to selection of drug product manufacturer and supplier should be the established by the pharmacy, ensure the high quality of the drug product like cytotoxic, hazard, and drug product. Controlled substance. These are substance of the drugs which should be given to the patient for not only the ordinary prescription. Should be this prescribed by the paying prescription, and all the things should be written and monitored by the doctors, nurses, head of the nurse, and the pharmacists, and also the government officials. The pharmacy shall be sick and means this accountability procedure. This one shall be access to the control ensure the control and the desirable and distribution of all use of the controlled substance and other medication with a potential for abuse. This is main thing. Nobody can be abuse the medication of such kind. Non-drug substance, the pharmacy shall seek and obtain documented authorization for the appropriate medical staff and hospital committee for the pharmacologic use of any chemical substance that has never revised FDA approval for any drugs use. Medical storage area inspection, all staff of the medication shall be inspected routinely. Floor stock of the medication generally shall be limited to for the medication for emergencies use and routinely use of the safe items like mouthwash and antiseptic and other things. Disaster services, this is a procedure shall exist for the providing the pharmaceutical services in case of disaster. Medical emergencies, the pharmacy shall they participate in hospital decisions about emergency medications, medication kits, and the role of pharmacists in the medical emergencies. Drug deliveries, this one the system, there is a main heading and also the subheading is the drug delivery system, administrative device and the automatic dispensing by machines, and pharmacists shall be provide the leadership and advice in organization and clinical decision regarding the drug delivery systems. Now the standard 5. There is a second last standard, the facilities, equipment and information resources. To ensure the optimal operational performance and the quality patient care, adequate space, equipment and supplies shall be available for all professionals and administrative functions relating to the medication use. These resources must be located in an area that facilitate to provision of services to patients, nurses and prescriber and other healthcare provider, and must be integrated with the hospital's communications and the delivery or transportation system. Facilities shall be contracted, arranged and equipped to promote the safe, this is a main criteria, to promote the safe and efficient work and to avoid the damage to or deterioration of drug product. That is the main thing. Medication storage facilities shall exist to the enable to the storage and the preparation of the medication under the proper condition or sanitation temperature. I told you before that one. Packaging, there is some also point, the packaging, compounding, cytotoxic, drug information, consultation space, automation. So packaging and compounding, there's a designation space of the equipment for the packaging and compounding drugs products and preparing the sterile products shall exist. There shall be the suitable work environment that promote overlines and efficiency of the minimized potential for the contamination of product. Cytotoxics and hazardous drugs product, special precautions, equipment and training for storage, handling and disposal of cytotoxics and the hazard drugs product shall exist to ensure the safety and personals and patient and visitors. Drug information, adequate space should be required, resources and information handling and communication technology shall be available to facilitate the provision of the drug informations. Next point, the consultation space. In outpatient dispensing area, a private area for the pharmacist patient consulting. There is an outpatient area. Their medicine should be taken from the patient, from the to the patient from the pharmacist. Pharmacy should be given the patient the drugs, and there is other area. If there is some brief explanation just about the dose, about the some precautions. If the patient need the more things, there is one area also, sitting area. The patient should be sit together with the pharmacist, and any questions, any difficulty, the patient should be asked from the pharmacist, and pharmacist should be explained. So that area, shall be available to enhance patients' knowledge. Okay, this is space and compliance with prescribed medication regimen. Office and meeting area shall be available for administrative, educational, and training activities. Automation. Automatic mechanical system of software may be useful in the promoting the accurate and efficient medication ordering and preparation of the drug distribution and clinical monitoring, and provide the safety use and do not hinders the pharmacist review. Record maintenance. Adequate space shall be exist for the maintenance of the strong and storing the record also. There is in the pharmacy area also, and also there's some type of record also just keep in the medical record. Computerized system should be available in all the area of the pharmacy. So that is standard number 5. Standard number 6, research. Here I just mention you the a few things, but in my next lecture I just describe about the research and why the pharmacist is the main part of the research in a hospital, and what type of research. Not is not research only for the for one medicine, two medication, but the current scenario, if there is some problem or some disease are and nowadays the COVID-19, so pharmacy should be help and should be involved in all type of research and treatment of all type of diseases. So that should be a part of the pharmacy services research. The pharmacy should initiate the participate and it supports medical and pharmaceutical research appropriate to the goal, objective, and resources of the specific hospital. So I just as mentioned here the only 2 lines there this thing, and but in my next lecture I just explain about the research. But here I mentioned 4 points, just one by one I just describe you. Policies and procedures. The pharmacist shall ensure that the policies and procedure for the safe and proper use of investigational drugs are established and followed. Distribution and control. The pharmacy shall be responsible for overseeing the distribution of control of all investigational drugs. Investigational drugs shall be approved for use by an institutional review board and shall be dispensed and administered to consenting patient according to an approved protocol. Institutional review board. A pharmacist shall be included on the hospital's institutional review board, and also a drug information involved in this in a research. The pharmacist shall have access to information and all investigational studies and similar research projects involving the medications and medication related devices used in the hospital. The pharmacist shall provide the information also in the written way and another way about the safe and proper use of the investigational drugs, including the possible adverse effects, adverse drug reactions to the nurses, to the pharmacists, and to the physicians and other healthcare professionals called upon to administer, dispense, and prescribe this medication. So this all of above the all 6 standard I just explained, and thank you very much. If you have some question, just please, and after that just subscribe my channel of YouTube and click the bell button and the button like. Thank you very much.